Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Verona Township Council for Monday, the 17th of March, 2025. Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meeting Act compliance statement?
The notice report slide with respect to this meeting of the Township Council. The meeting time and date, public internet link, and telephone call-in information. Said notice and the meeting agenda was posted in the municipal building and sent to the official papers of the Township, Verona City Road Times, and the Star Ledger at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and handouts can be viewed at Verona. A comment will be provided.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland. Here. Councilwoman McGrath. Here. Councilman Roman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Present.
Mayor Tamburo.
Here.
Mayor also present is Township Attorney Brian Aloy, Township Manager Kevin O'Sullivan, myself, Municipal Clerk Jennifer Terry.
Thank you. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our regular Township Council meeting. Due to the crowd in the room, I just want to remind everybody that there are fire exits over stairs by where the police chief is standing. The other fire exit is over here as well. I'm going to begin with the mayor's report, and we have some joyous celebration here. Our 7th grade girls suburban basketball team finished their season with a regular record of 7-3, and including the playoffs 9-3. They won the West Division with a 5-1 record by beating undefeated Livingston in the last regular season game to advance in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, the girls beat the top 2 teams in the East Division and won the championship. Ladies, that is very impressive. I commend you for your not only athletic prowess, but also wins like this take teamwork. They take listening to your coaches. They take joy in the game. All of those things are skills that will transfer to everything that you do in life. So congratulations to you and congratulations to your coaches. Now I'm going to come forward and perhaps the council would like to join me. And we have some certificates, everybody. We'll call some names and please come forward. When you come forward, we're just going to kind of stand in here and then we'll take a picture. We're done. All right, well, let's go. Okay. No, that mayor perhaps like to distribute large font. Take one of those. All right, when we call your name up, come on up. You get to shake my hand. The deputy mayor gets to give you the fun stuff. All right. All right, Riley Curtin, number 11. All right, Zoe Davila. Adeline Guarino. Caitlin Mann. Juliana Molina. Layla Morgan. Sienna Rossi. Lily Simon. Sienna Spina. Amelia Stanisi. Ellie Walker. And last but not least, Whitney Wilkins. And I'd like to ask your coaches to come up as well. Head coach Crystal Rossi. Joe Davila, assistant coach. And Joseph Guarino. He's not here. All right. Congratulations, everybody. This is for Jen.
All right, ladies. Yeah, everyone step
Yeah, everybody.
forward.
Yeah, some coming this way. There you go.
Well, you gotta shuffle forward.
Take a step forward.
Yeah.
Up forward. There you go. Grown up. Yeah, some of you are calling. Look at his number. Got it? Good job.
All right. No, okay, that's me.
Good guy.
Thanks.
Well,
Second, that.
yes.
I'd like to call up our county liaison, Mr. Jay Coltrane.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Basically, we're going into the spring season and it does not feel like spring season, so I have my winter coat on. Yeah. On Saturday, April 5th at 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Northern Division, we have a Cherry Blossom Bike Race. On Sunday, April 6th at 10 a.m., we have our Cherry Blossom 10K Run, which is also in the Northern Division. And Sunday, April 12th, we have our 1 mile fun and walk run at 9 a.m. at the Essex County Family Gate section by the Prudential Concert area. And Sunday, April 13th, we have Balloon Fest at the Oval at the North Division. Basically, we have nothing else really happening. Even though our fields are all getting ready for soccer, baseball, etc. Happen to take a little tour. We also have open at Hendricks Field is your golf ID. If you're interested, our courses are open. Lake is not open because we are still doing the renovations. That'll probably be open sometime around mid-July. That is my short report this evening. And any questions from Mayor and Council?
I think Mr. Coltrane. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much.
On to the rest of the mayor's report. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. We did celebrate our Irish flag raising at our last meeting, but enjoy the day. Last week I attended a couple meetings sponsored by the New Jersey League of Municipalities for municipalities that had our revised affordable housing numbers contested. It was a mayor's meeting and for managers and attorneys as well, and our administration and attorney were on that, which was a very informative meeting. And I thank the League of Municipalities for sponsoring that. Municipalities were able to share strategies that they had taken, which was very helpful in planning our response as well. The Verona Environmental Commission met since our last meeting and reviewed several site plans, including those for Everett Field. The council did receive the recommendations from the Environmental Commission. I hope that the council reads them in their entirety. They were excellent recommendations. I had the opportunity to go to Forest Avenue School as part of Read Across America to read to Mrs. Ella Boken's 3rd grade class. And as always, I was welcomed and had a great little press conference after, which was as informative for me, maybe as for the students. With the deputy mayor and Councilman Roman, I attended the Boy Scout Troop 2 pancake practice this weekend. It's the one time a year I eat pancakes, and they are the best pancakes I think I had in a year, right? On Sunday, yesterday, we attended the Ramadan interfaith meal that was sponsored by the Verona Clergy Council. It was really a wonderful evening. discussing the commonalities between the religious traditions that exist in Verona. We enjoyed some fellowship and some understanding together. Next Tuesday, we will be participating in a joint meeting with the Verona Board of Education. It'll be held at 7 o'clock in the auditorium of Verona High School. Note that due to technological restraints in the school system, it will not be, it will be live streamed on Zoom on the school system Zoom, but you won't be able to publicly comment. So if you would like to comment at that meeting, please come in person. And finally, as everybody knows who's at this meeting, presumably, there was a horrific incident in Verona involving shooting of 4 individuals in one of our municipal parking lots in that area. Would like to start out by thanking the Verona Police Department, our responding officers who were immediately there, our officers who came in from home when they were requested to assist, our dispatcher, Mario Santulli, who handled multiple 911 calls at the same time and was able to get resources there very quickly. Our police administration and our detective bureau responded to the incident. This was truly an all hands on deck type of incident. I'd also like to thank the Verona Rescue Squad who responded and transported 2 shooting victims. As a first responder at this incident, I can attest that I saw great professionalism and bravery from everybody present, from our police officers to our volunteer rescue squad members, and it is certainly that is a source of pride for Verona. I'd also like to thank all of the mutual aid agencies that came to assist Verona during that time, including the North Caldwell Police Department, Essex Fells Police, Caldwell Police, Montclair Police, Bloomfield Police, Livingston Police, Fairfield Police, and the Cedar Grove Police Department, who basically is the sister agency to Verona Police, was present for basically the entire incident and provided multiple officers and scene security and additional resources. So I can't thank them enough. I'd also like to recognize the Cedar Grove First Aid and Rescue Squad, who was there also for the entirety of the incident to provide additional support. They also handled an emergency call in Verona at another place that happened during that incident because time does not stop. And I'd also like to thank Montclair EMS for attending to another simultaneous emergency while our crews were tied up at University Hospital. As mayor, I am angry that visitors to Verona violated the well-known peace and safety of our community with reckless and senseless violence. I'm upset that our police EMS were forced to risk their lives responding to this incident. And I'm deeply concerned that this incident has greatly affected our residents and their feelings of safety in our community. This will not be tolerated in Verona. But as they say, actions speak louder than words. At this time, I'll be asking Chief Chris Kiernan of the Verona Police Department to offer an update to the council and the public. Following Chief Kiernan's remarks, Township Manager Kevin O'Sullivan will present administrative actions that are already been taken by the township to address concerns related to this incident. And then after that, I will open for public comment on this incident only due to the number of people present for that. Chief Kiernan.
As most of you are aware, we did have, as the mayor just noted, we had a shooting incident on Saturday, March 16th in Municipal Lot 1 off of Park Place. The incident began as an argument between a small group of individuals who were leaving an event at a local business. The argument escalated when someone brandished a handgun, resulting in multiple suspects exchanging gunfire. A total of 4 people were struck. 2 were treated on the scene and transported to University Hospital by the Verona Rescue Squad. 2 other victims were self-transported to local hospitals. 3 of the 4 have been released. The 4th is unfortunately still in the hospital in critical condition. As per the norm, as just mentioned, we were immediately assisted by our surrounding agencies, but I'd just like to note North Caldwell, Essex Fells, Caldwell, Montclair, Bloomfield, Livingston, Fairfield. This was all paramount in maintaining scene control. Special thanks, as noted, to the Cedar Grove Police Department, our sister agency under the public safety umbrella, who assisted us with not only on-scene investigation, but providing additional equipment resources, including emergency lighting and a drone for scene processing. Recognition to the Verona Rescue Squad for their quick and measured life-saving actions is necessary as well. The police department is grateful for the county resources offered. I should note I've received personal phone calls from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office Chief of Detectives Mitch McGuire, Sheriff Amir Jones, as well as the prosecutor himself, Theodore Stevens, who assured me that all available resources are being put forward to assist our investigation. Newark Public Safety Director Manny Miranda also contacted me offering assistance from the Newark Shooting Response Team's resources. Over the past 40 hours since the incident, the Verona Police Department remains resolute in our efforts in establishing the identity of the individuals involved. I'm confident this exceptional work being done by your officers will lead to the arrest of those responsible for this reckless and outrageous behavior. Saturday night appears to be an isolated incident between a small group of partygoers. There is no active threat to the public at this time. The investigation is very fluid and ongoing. We are currently being assisted by the Essex County Prosecutor's Office. Because of this, I can make no further comments regarding the case at this time. Just know that we are committed to ensuring the public safety and well-being of all Verona residents.
Thank you, Chief Kieran. Any questions for Chief Kieran from the council? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Township Manager O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. And to reiterate a little bit of what's been stated already, the Township of Verona is fortunate and thankful to be served by the Verona Police Department and the Verona Rescue Squad. The Township's appreciation certainly extends to all those neighboring municipalities and the County Prosecutor's Office for their support over this past weekend and in all the instances when mutual aid is called upon. The immediate response from all the first responders was an admirable effort in the face of very difficult circumstances. Prior to and independent from the events which occurred over the weekend, the township had begun reviewing the Palmetto Venue's property files in response to incoming complaints that had been received. The events over the weekend resulted in the township expediting and completing a zoning review of the property and the business. The township remains committed to also reviewing all other potential code compliance matters that exist for that property and that business. Based upon the zoning review, it was determined that the business was improperly given a zoning permit and certificate of occupancy based upon the decision of a former employee who was not authorized to issue such a decision. Therefore, the continued use of the property as an event space is neither permitted nor authorized. The business owner and the property owner have been notified of these findings and have been provided 45 days to either terminate the event rental space use or to seek relief from the Board of Adjustment.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Any questions for Mr. O'Sullivan from the council? Before I open for public comment, I do just want to thank Chief Kieran, Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. Aloya for being available all weekend to address concerns that the council had and also that came through from residents. It was once again, everybody was working all day Sunday and today as well in response. At this time, if there's no objection from the council, I will open for public comment on this issue only. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public participation statement?
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this matter, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If you're dialing in by phone, press *9. If you're attending, please raise your hand to be acknowledged and approach the lectern. Once recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note that these meetings will be posted on the township's YouTube channel and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council. There will be no cross dialogue during this public portion. After everyone wishing to speak has been heard, the council may address your comments and/or questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So did anybody in the room wish to make a comment on this issue? Well, we're going to start in the front row. Come on up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kristen Kistner, and I have been a Verona resident for the past 17 years. I have 3 children, and 2 of the 3 currently attend HBW, which, as you know, is just feet away from the shooting this past weekend. Not only do my boys, as well as many of their friends, walk past this exact location each week, but we also frequent many of the establishments next to Palmetto venues, as do many of our community members. I am here tonight to share that a petition was created this afternoon and has garnered nearly 200 signatures in less than 4 hours to urge our local government to investigate the Palmetto venues, request license revocation if the business violated safety laws, and if the investigation declares the business a public nuisance, we demand our officials to take legal action. I would also personally request that the public be informed of this shooting if the shooting occurred within exactly 1,000 feet of the HB school grounds. As I'm sure you're all aware, it is illegal to possess or discharge a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school property. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kistner. Second row? Your birthday.
Sharon O'Donnell, Verona resident. I composed this piece the night that this happened because I knew that I wanted to get before somebody and either publish it or read it. So I was not here. I came in the middle of what was happening before. So if some of these issues have been addressed, I apologize for the redundancy. 36 shots were fired Saturday night, right here in Verona. 36 shots were fired. Right over there in the parking lot bound on one side by our middle school, on a second side by its athletic field, and on the third by our business community, and on the fourth side by private homes, one of which is mine. Literally, that lot is in the heart of Verona, and the lifeblood of our community passes through it every day. Our children attend the middle school Monday through Friday. Our families cheer at athletes on the field after school and on weekends. And everyone, weekdays and weekends, day and night, enjoy the restaurants and shops along Bloomfield Avenue. Now, those shops and restaurants are all bound by certain rules and legal requirements that are designed to protect both the merchants and their patrons from any number of mishaps or misfortunes that could take place. These requirements are defined as clearly as possible and they are enforceable. But that may not be the case with Palmetto venues. The event space that housed the party that ended in a parking lot fight where 36 shots were fired and 4 people were hit, and 2 of those people were so seriously injured that they were admitted to University Hospital in Newark. As we gather tonight, there are people getting counsel and reviewing the legal requirements Palmetto must meet to operate from their current location. But because their website lists them as an event venue, I'm concerned that Palmetto may not be encumbered by the laws and requirements other businesses are bound to follow, like caterers and restaurants, thus enabling them to operate within a more permissive and lax gray area, even though, just like caterers and restaurants, alcoholic beverages are permitted on their premise and are consumed by the clients who retain their event space. When Verona deals with businesses that don't fit easily into existing frameworks, what are the guidelines the town follows? What are the risks they assess? How do they determine whether or not to move forward with granting permits? As a resident of Park Place, I have, but I do not like it, I've built a tolerance to the less attractive aspects of living on a street that's both residential and commercial. Things like garbage strewn across my lawn from the night before that needs picking up every weekend, or the noise of late night party music that a closed window can muffle, and especially since the opening of Palmetto, unruly and obviously drunk partygoers mingling in the parking lot after the party is over. I always hope they will leave quickly. And prior to Saturday, I'm pretty sure many in this room never dreamed they'd be faced with a business whose clientele's behavior just devolved into a 36-shot gunfight. But here we are, right here, right now, facing this moment. So what is it? What's the next level of inconvenience or discomfort, the next level of risk or danger to my safety that the town council might have to ask me or the community to tolerate?
Ms. O'Donnell, I have to stop you.
Yes.
The 4-minute limit.
I respect that. Okay. So that's my concern.
We've heard it. Anybody in the second row? Anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Tamburo, Township Council, thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan, of course, our neighbors. I appreciate you all being here. My name is Dex Polizzi. I live at 17 Park Place. It's important because it's across the street from Palmetto Venues. It's deeply unfortunate that I'm standing here before you today, following the gunfight that erupted during the party at Palmetto Venues on Saturday night. As a resident of Park Place, I've been front and center to the regular and ongoing disruption caused by Palmetto Venues since their opening a little over a year ago. I've been in communication previously with Tom Jacobson, Mr. O'Sullivan, Councilwoman Holland, to raise my concerns about this business for months. Myself and my neighbors have been forced to make calls to town officials and police on a regular basis to rein in the raucous parties hosted by the owners of Palmetto Venues, who are not here tonight. However, very little action has been taken to date. Now, after a worst case scenario where patrons of Palmetto Venues erupted in a violent shootout outside of my front door, in the shadow of our middle school, in this very building that we stand in, we must demand accountability and action for the sake of my 8-year-old and 6-year-old who were feet away when this happened. As far as I'm concerned, there is blood on the hands of this town who have not acted before this point. For months, they have been a nuisance. Now, they're a danger. They present a clear and tangible threat to myself, my family, our neighborhood, and the township community. For months, we've experienced a dramatic increase in traffic and reckless driving, threatening encounters with partygoers, fights breaking out among their customers, trash accumulation, including a litany of balloons over the last 12 months that have regularly left in the parking lot and wind up in the Peckman River. There's a DEP complaint on file. Not to mention declining property values and ongoing noise disturbances well past legal limits. They're disturbing our peace and reducing our quality of life. And I have to live in fear that I'll come home to any number of drunk, angry partygoers with a predilection for guns and the dangers they bring to our doors. I also have major concerns about the legitimacy and safety of the business and the manner in which they're allowed to operate in Verona. Why are they permitted to host events with more than 160 people when any other similar business is limited to 100? Who approved this zoning permit for a business that hosts 160 people with less than 2 bathrooms, or excuse me, only 10 bathrooms and less than 10 parking spaces? How come they're allowed signage that covers 100% of their windows when anybody else in town is limited to 25%? They operate in a legal gray area. Customers are regularly served alcohol to excess, and that business has no liquor license. They have no catering license, but they serve food. There are no means to regulate a business that operates outside of the boundaries of any legal framework. And it's clear that their patrons have no respect for the law as well. And I want to know who is accountable and who is responsible. These are laws, as they're written now, have enabled this business to push the margins of legal operation to their maximum limit. I'm sure you guys recognize this now. I'm calling on the town council to take the following actions immediately, some of which you already have, but we need to revoke their business license and permanently shut down this business beyond 45 days. We need to strengthen our ordinances to prevent businesses from creating similar hazardous conditions across the community. And in my opinion, we need to require event permitting, a mandatory police presence, and the use of firearm detection and prevention technologies. And this all needs to come at the cost of the business owners. I want to thank the town council for their serious attention to this matter. I also want to thank the Verona Police Department and their support of this community. But I have to ask, what is the town doing to eliminate the threat presented by this business? Its owners, including Robert Lewis, Kim John, the
Mr.
landowner.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you off, or.
And let's not forget the gunman.
Yeah. Great. Next, anybody else in the second row?
Thank you, guys. Hi, good evening. Emily Polizzi, 17 Park Place. Palmetto Venues is at a minimum a public nuisance for Verona. Between creating additional vehicular traffic in an already highly trafficked area of town, to generating unsightly waste that litters the nearby streets and ends up in the Peckman River, to the regular violation of township noise ordinances, this business disrupts the peace of those who live close by and those who frequent the businesses and the residences surrounding 10 Park Place. I wish I could stop there. But after arriving home to my residence located at 17 Park Place at 11 p.m. on Saturday, March 15th, with my sleeping children in the backseat of our car, I had no choice but to use my voice and this time to share with the town council how Palmetto Venues went from being a nuisance to a very real threat to the safety, security, and well-being of my family, my neighbors, and all Verona residents. At 11 p.m., we turned onto our street to a scene of flashing lights, police, and crime scene tape. Had we arrived home only minutes earlier, we would have been within range of being struck by a stray bullet. Barely 100 feet from my front door, gunfire. My 8-year-old daughter, awoken by the chaos as we pulled into our driveway, started to cry, and she asked, "What's happening, Mommy? Why is there an ambulance and police? I'm scared." Me too. This horrific event leaves me both angry and terrified. I'm deeply saddened and afraid for the safety of my family and for our community. How could this happen? Gun violence has no place here. Many local businesses serve the township of Verona. How is this business servicing our community? What value is Palmetto Venues bringing to our community? I have not seen this business make any meaningful or superficial contributions to Verona. In fact, between the traffic, trash, noise violations, and now gun violence, I don't think I'm being unreasonable when I say that Palmetto Venues does a disservice to the community and is a detriment to our town. Palmetto Venues has not brought any value to Verona. It has devalued our home and our homes. This business has brought violence and fear to Verona. This is truly unthinkable and unacceptable. In the Verona Police Department's update last night, they stated there is no active threat to the public at this time. The Verona Police Department remains committed to ensuring public safety and the well-being of all Verona residents. We deserve safety and security. We deserve immediate action to address the business that has put our town's public safety and well-being into question. And so I ask, slightly revised due to the information provided, what will be done within the next 45 days while the business is asked to take action as you described? What will be done in the next 45 days to ensure that Palmetto Venues is no longer a threat to our communities?
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Eileen and
Please provide your last name, Eileen, please.
Carney, and I'm on Park Place. I live right next door to Palmetto Venue. I arrived home Saturday night around 10:45 p.m. and I saw the balloons and the signage, so I knew that I was preparing for the usual ruckus that occurs after every party at Palmetto. There's always yelling, fighting, general drunken chaos when the party goers leave the venue and head into the municipal lot and hang out there for an extended period of time. And then Saturday night happened, and what I thought were fireworks turned out to be 36 bullets. It's unacceptable. My family has owned this home on Park Place since 1958. And in all those years, we have had wonderful relationships with all of our business neighbors. It has always been a great community spirit. I want Palmetto to find a new location. I want to feel safe again. And I want to know what the town plans to do to keep us safe. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I'm gonna move to Angela, who's on Zoom. Angela? Angela, you can come off mute and you've been given permission to speak on Zoom. All right, we have another Zoom attendee, Erin Paul. Switch to Erin.
Hi there, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Erin, go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi. Yeah, my Zoom account says Erin Paul, but I am Erin Ozelins. I'm a resident of Verona. I'm over. Sorry, I just put my baby to bed. I've been listening to what everyone has to say, and I want to express my sympathy and empathy for the folks who are directly next to this business. I can't imagine that feeling. I have a 4-month-old. And that's certainly not something that I think Verona stands for. I've been a resident here for 4 years now, but my husband's family has been here for over 40. And, just to put it pretty plainly, if I wanted to deal with this crap, I would still live in Washington Heights. I wouldn't be here in Verona. So, kind of echoing what everyone else has said in a much more articulate manner, I'd really like to know what the town is planning to do about this, because I plan to make Verona my home for a very long time. But stuff like this is why I left the last place that I lived. So I would really love to know what the plan is going forward. I've heard a little bit, but can't wait to hear more. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. I don't have anybody else on Zoom. Anybody else in the second row? Second row? No, I'm gonna go to this side. I'll get back to you. This side's been very patient. Hi, Andrew, did you have your hand up? Yeah. Yep, come on up.
My name is Andrew Durborough, and I live in Verona for 23 years. I'm also the operator of Adding Bistro in Verona and the owner of What Went Mad Tacos, the Shake Smash. And I did meet the owners of the venue and they seemed very nice and everything. I did notice that things were getting a little bit out of hand there. And I feel like as a business owner that's been held to a high scrutiny with a liquor license and food licenses and gone through several zoning applications, I feel that now I'm discovering that this operation is operating without a license. I formerly worked many years ago in New York in the nightclub business, and I'm very familiar with cabaret licenses and liquor licenses and all the different intricacies of things. And I had no idea that this was done without any board of adjustment review like I've had to go through in the past to get my businesses open. The cost and the agony of going through all the experts and whatnot to get your approvals. And I feel bad that other people, have to go through the same rite of passage as I've had to, but I also feel like I've been cheated because other people are getting away without having to go through that. And I also would like to thank the Verona Police Department, first responders for coming. And, the other thing that was disturbing is I got a call from my manager that our patrons and our employees were ordered lockdown in the facility for safety. And we're trying to answer to our customers who weren't permitted to take their cars out for the security crime scene, and also the damage it does to the reputation of our business that we built. So it's the only comments I have. But again, thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, Mr. O'Sullivan. I would like to echo everyone's comments and thank our Chief of Police and the Police Department and all the local responders that attended on Saturday evening. I just had, I echo everyone's sentiments here, and I heard the bullets from my house underwent in my family room that evening. I thought they were fireworks. I just want to make a few comments regarding the zoning that was approved back on August of 2023 for Palmetto venues to go into that 546 Bloomfield Avenue location. I would like to just make note, as Mr. O'Sullivan noted, it is not our current zoning officer that approved that to go into that location. That person is no longer with the township. So I would like that to be on record, because our zoning officer right now does a fabulous job, and that's what we want for Verona. We want someone to make sure that things are being looked at and not overlooked, so we're not sitting here again for something like this. So I know sometimes this people come into the office and are upset with the zoning department because of the rules, but the rules are the rules, and this is why. So that wasn't followed back in August of 2023. Just going also with the note of the 45 days to terminate or the use of the event rental space or seek relief from the Board of Adjustment. If this Palmetto venue waits 45 days and on May 1st, they come into the Board of Adjustment zoning office and they want to file an application, that brings us to May 1st. They file their application. Zoning Board of Adjustment, as everyone should know, it takes a few months to get heard, to be put on for the Board of Adjustment. So now, even if tomorrow they come in and want to go for the Board of Adjustment application, are they going to be able to operate for 45 days plus when they could be heard? The Board of Adjustment is meeting right now. If you come in today to file an application, you're not being heard until June 12th. There's one meeting a month. So that's just something that should be out there for the record, because will they continue to operate? And if they do continue to operate, then I truly believe that there should be some form of security, that Palmetto Venues has to hire police officers on their dime to cover the events that go on, to make sure something like this does not happen within the next 4 or 5 months from them being heard, should they want to go through the Board of Adjustment. And as for safety issues of that building, I don't know how they even are in there. The egress, they can't get out of that building. If there were shots fired in that building, there would have been a major issue of them getting out of those 30-inch doors. There's only one in the front and one in the back. So if there's 200 people in that building at one time, there would have been a major issue. So, and if you look on their Instagram account, Facebook account, or their TikTok videos, they have flames shooting up. It's not a very good venue for Verona. So just I just appreciate all of you, and again, thank you for our first responders. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else on this side of the room?
Paul Trangeli, Verona. Basically, I want to thank police, fire, first responders, everything like that. Now, as Pam spoke about the zoning, when that comes, if they do file that and that comes ahead, I would like to say to the townspeople that, one meeting is not, we shouldn't show up when something bad happens. Stuff like this, these zoning meetings, I go to every meeting and I try to fight for our town on everything to stop things like this from happening. So I just hope, like Pam says, we're notified when this zoning application or something does happen, so we can bring support like this and we can shut that down. We do not need this business to keep running. The fire codes, as you spoke last town meeting, I was probably the only one in the audience. The last town meeting, we talked about code enforcement. You need more people to enforce the code and stuff like that. If we had more people to enforce the code, fire code would definitely be enforced, things like that. The business is operating illegally. We all know that. You guys are going to take the right steps. we all trust you to take the right steps. You hear from the town. I just ask that the townspeople show up to more meetings so we can be heard before bad things happen. Because right now I'm the only one showing up and I'm trying to fight for you guys and we all show up when it's too late. So thank you.
Okay, going back to this side of the room, Christian.
Christian Schumalo, 153 Morningside Road. Just a suggestion. Possibly we should look into maybe an ordinance that we can pass eliminating these type of venues in our township, that they will not be allowed to operate in Verona if we, consider an ordinance eliminating these type of facilities. We have few venues here that we have no problems with. This type of venue without a liquor license, no kitchen, maybe we shouldn't allow that. If you guys can consider maybe looking into that type of an ordinance, it would eliminate them in general. Secondly, we have a lot of residents here from Park Place and other areas in town that have made numerous phone calls complaining about this facility. I think the most important question, and I hope I can get an answer, was there any violations given to this business prior to the 36 shots this past Saturday? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment. I'm going to invite Stanley Berkowitz, who's on Zoom, to participate. Berkowitz, you have permission to talk if you want to unmute and participate.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. I live on Church Street, and there's another meeting place. I think it's called 341. And they don't have their venues too often, but when they do, there's cars parked all over Bloomfield Avenue, all over, it's all over the place. And I don't know how they can have something when there's no parking for it. They say there's parking for 100 cars. There's no parking for 100 cars. There's only a dentist office. That's really all I have to say.
They also have drinks and are in the parking lot smoking marijuana, which
Okay.
isn't illegal.
When you continue commenting, I just need your name as well for the record.
Okay.
The other person talking, I just need her name for the
Mary.
record. So
One more name.
thank you. If you can participate now, go ahead.
I don't want to be involved with it. What if they came on bothers? I turned it off.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else in the room on this side of the room? Anybody in the hallway that's not in the room who wants to participate? Yeah. All right. At this point, I will close public comment on this item. There are additional public comment opportunities during the meeting. I will take an opportunity. I want to thank the public for understanding the rules of public participation, understanding that we can't have a back and forth dialogue. We do want to address a few things if we can now. As far as what is going to happen immediately for those who missed Mr. O'Sullivan's presentation, the venue has been notified that they are a non-permitted use and that their permit was granted in error by a former employee. And at this point, they have to either vacate or appeal within the 45 days. To go to answer the question is what happens in the meantime, Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. Oloya, if they file the appeal, do they cease operating during the appeal or are they able to operate while the appeal is pending?
I can certainly tell you your options.
Turn your mic on, bro.
I'm sorry, I can certainly tell you your options and tell you what I recommend can happen. Would you like to go to closed session to do that, or would you like? How would you like to proceed?
And we would go to closed session because it's attorney-client privilege.
And because I'm not a decision maker, right? I'm an advice giver. If you want to go into the clerk's office for 5 minutes, I can answer all your questions. You can come back out and answer the way you prefer.
Wait, yeah.
Okay,
Guys, I like to rattle.
why don't we do some more response? We'll get out what we can. And then if any other items come up, we'll know, so we don't have to keep going in and out of Jen's office, okay? So that's item number one. We'll discuss and get back to you on that piece. As far as there were some concerns about things like signage and other violations, you know, that the opaque front glass, that was addressed by zoning, right?
Those, some of the comments had previously been received and forwarded to the zoning and construction and property maintenance offices. Some of the comments are comments that need further investigation by those departments.
So, I'm sorry. It's out of order. Thank you. I'm gonna ask Chief Kiernan if you can come up to address the number of police complaints that have been received and entered into the police cats.
There have been 5 noise /traffic complaints over the past year.
And that's the totality of anything catted to that location.
That's correct.
Thank you, Chief.
Can we make a point of order?
No, I'm sorry. You'll have another opportunity for public comments in after, if you look on the agenda, after the Township Manager's report, we will have an additional closed session to discuss an item related to affordable housing.
I made 5 calls.
Then there will be council member comments, and then there'll be another public comment session at that time. Okay, moving on to other items as far as the concerns about fire egress. Anybody who does apply for a certificate of occupancy has to have a fire inspection, correct, gentlemen? Okay, so that was addressed previously. And that is something, of course, that the fire official can review again. And perhaps Mr. O'Sullivan would ask for a second review of the fire standing there and the permit for number of people sitting and standing, which is different. Just on a couple, just trying to go back to some of these other items. There was a comment about the council closing of business. That's another item that we will address with Mr. Avoya. That's generally, and have an answer for you when we come back. As something that generally municipal government doesn't necessarily have power to shutter an individual business. But there are some options that we can discuss, which is why we have our very talented attorney to help us with that as well. I do want to encourage everybody before we go back that if you are living in that area, there is no complaint too small, right? If you observe something that you think is a violation of our municipal ordinances, please contact the police department. Police department will respond. It is a routine thing. So please call. They will respond and do so professionally. And what it does is it allows that to be documented and added into those records that the chief just noted as well. I would also encourage that if you have specific complaints, to contact the entire council with your complaints. There's an online form. There's an online form that emails all of us. It copies the township manager and the township clerk. I encourage you to use that to contact all of us if you have any of those issues, so you can respond. I just stand corrected that our Fire Prevention Bureau does not do certificate of compliance inspections for businesses, but the subcode, the building subcode, fire subcode official would do that. So we'll ask the fire subcode official to do it. And also the Fire Prevention Bureau, if they note any violations, would be able to respond to that as well while that's happening. Right. At that point, I will hear yes, Council.
I actually have a question,
Yes.
For the chief. The press release last night said that the business is temporarily closed. Can you just talk to that, and how long is that under some sort of emergency powers, and how long is that expected to last?
We had concerns for public safety, not knowing the identities of the suspects. If that location was in fact had any bearing on the future. We also didn't know if there'd be any type of retaliation. The investigation has progressed. Again, that's why I said it does appear to be an isolated incident between a group of individuals, nothing to do with the venue or Verona.
Okay. So at this moment, is it technically temporarily closed or no? Something for discussion.
Got it.
Yes. What is?
Sorry, members of the public, I understand your desire to participate. The council by ordinance has specific public participation rules. We can respond if you call from the gallery, but there will be another opportunity for public comment. We just have to keep the meeting going to ensure that everybody's concerns are addressed, and we do so in the appropriate and timely fashion. Chief?
So there is not a threat to the public safety based on that incident. There were some recommendations. I had a very good conversation with the proprietor. He's giving law enforcement full cooperation. And there were some recommendations that were discussed.
All right, thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council for Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. Loya, Chief Kieran?
Before you run,
Deputy Mayor?
Chief, I'm sorry, before you run. The recommendations, if they, are they just recommendations or are they?
Just recommendations.
Okay.
Same with any other business or event halls.
Thank you.
So Councilman Rose.
So to clarify, the business is not ordered closed by the municipality at this point in time. It was a voluntary closure by the owner.
He worked in cooperation with us because of our safety concerns. And there was an event going on that was canceled. He gave full cooperation and obviously was a hit to his business, but he wanted the safety of everyone, the community, the neighbors, and work with the township and police department.
Thank you. In order to discuss the concerns of the public more completely, I will hear a motion to change the order of business to allow for a executive session at this time, and then we'll hear a motion to adopt resolution L3 at this time, which authorizes said executive session. Do we hear a motion to change the order of business to go into executive session at this time?
So moved.
The motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there any discussion? No. All those in favor? All right. Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion is carried. This time I'll hear a motion to adopt resolution L3, which authorizes executive session. Do I have a motion? So motion is made by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. Is there any council discussion? I'll have to call for public comment on the adoption of this resolution. The public comment is limited to this resolution, which allows the council to go into executive session. Well, legally, I must call for public comment on the resolution. The same public comment statement applies, or limited to this resolution. Any comment on that? Okay, hearing none, I close public comment. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please, on L3?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Rome,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Mayor Tamburro,
Yes.
Mayor Ridley. And that's 064.
At this time, we're going to go into the brief closed session. Members of the public, I do ask that you remain as quiet as possible. The room does record while you're in here. So please do so if you want to take a break for a minute and get a glass of water. There's a water fountain downstairs. Good evening. We are back in open session tonight. I appreciate the public's patience while we did meet in closed session with our attorney and interim police chief. At this time, I'm going to ask our township manager, Mr. O'Sullivan, to discuss the administration's interim response while we're awaiting a zoning determination. I do want to note that legally the township council is the appellate body that hears appeals from the zoning board of adjustment. As a result, the council is not able to specifically comment on any matters related to whether the variance should be granted for this property from a zoning standpoint, because we would prejudice ourselves if that were to come forward to us on appeal. But please understand that the council cannot respond to anything related to that. However, our township manager is not enjoined from doing that. And Mr. O'Sullivan will share the interim steps being taken after consultation with our committee and police chief. Mr. O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, just to reiterate, the notice to the business was that they had to notify that they have 45 days to either terminate the event rental space use or to seek relief from the Board of Adjustment. The interim period during which a lot of these questions have been raised is during those 45 days, they will be noticed tomorrow of all of the outstanding violations and code compliance matters that have been raised during the meeting tonight and others that may exist that other departments in the township are aware of, and they will not be permitted to return to use if and until they address each and every one of those matters. So that is a notice that will be issued to that business tomorrow.
In addition, Mr. O'Sullivan, out of fairness, the township will be.
Sure, and again, out of fairness, the township will be providing that business the list of compliance matters that do exist, and they will be offered the same opportunity that every other business has to come into compliance with those matters. Again, this is a matter of both providing them that list and the opportunity to rectify those compliance matters, but the business will be closed until they do address each of those compliance matters.
And our zoning department will be doing a review of any similar facilities.
That is correct. All of those items that may be applicable to other similar businesses or any other compliance matters that may be applicable to other locations throughout the town will be reviewed, and the same standards will be applied to both this particular business venue and any other business venues to which they apply.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. All right. At this time, Mr. O'Sullivan, we are ready for the highlights, please.
Well, in light of the hour, there were a number of updates on a number of infrastructure projects that are going on throughout the township. We do have some activity picking up. The main pool improvements are mobilizing this week. We are working on some of the preliminary work at the wastewater plant. We are continuing with design work for some of the additional needs at the wastewater plant. The Lynn Drive well is obviously online in service. It's an item that we've been discussing for several months. The Fairview Avenue well rehabilitation will be going out to bid this month. We also have our pickleball and tennis courts under construction. The contractor has been making great progress on those projects. And then the last item is regarding affordable housing. The township has previously passed a declaratory number that was provided a declaratory number of prospective development housing units that affordable housing would be required in the township of Verona. That number was a total count of 173 units. The township took a reduction based upon some miscalculations that we believe the state had made. We took a declaration of 149 housing units for our affordable housing obligation. The township was subject to 2 appeals that were filed. This past Friday afternoon, we had a conference settlement with Fair Share Housing and the judge assigned to the Township of Verona's matter. There was a good amount of back and forth. The township was able to demonstrate that not only have we been good actors in affordable housing in prior rounds and maintaining compliance with our prior round obligations, but the miscalculations that we had pointed out of missed open space land that should have been taken into consideration was acknowledged by both Fair Share Housing and the courts. And the settlement discussion that the settlement conference resulted in a recommendation for the town council to accept a settlement number of 155 units, which is 18 units less than what was initially assigned to the township, but 6 units higher than what the township believed the number, appropriate number should be. So with that summary, there will be a resolution for consideration by the council tonight authorizing the execution of a settlement agreement to that effect.
And that settlement would insulate us if Fair Share Housing is successful in an argument that the remaining unfilled need has to be redistributed among other towns. This settlement would protect us from any liability for additional units if that were to happen.
The settlement would lock the number at 155. That becomes the township number, regardless of any decisions or actions that come thereafter.
Excellent. Thank you. That's all. Any questions for the township manager from the council? Okay, hearing none. Mr. O'Sullivan, would you like to recommend that we adopt the budget? Or, I'm sorry, CFO, come on up. Or she has to. No, we're gonna do that in new business.
Oh. Good evening. Before you, the first thing that we have to do is the cap ordinance. So you should have that in front of you. And then we can move on to the resolution to introduce the 2025 budget.
All right. For somebody, Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of E1A into the record?
An ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 40A 4-45.14.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please? So moved.
Second.
Motion made by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councilwoman McGrath. This time I will open for public comment on ordinance E1A, which is the cap index. The comment is limited to this matter only. Madam Clerk, could you read the public participation statement then, just because we've had people in and out?
This is just first.
Oh, sorry, you're absolutely right. So we'll have to do that. Any council comments? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor Orden, the 25 will be numbered, 2025-07, with hearing will be held on.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will somebody please move resolution E1B, the introduction of the 2025 municipal budget?
So moved.
Which is made by Councilman Holland and seconded by Councilman. Any council discussion on this item?
Just a thank you to our CFO for all our hard work during this process. And the budget meetings were fantastic. Really think they went very smoothly, and probably one of the best was the second one that I think I've ever been through in my 8 years.
Appreciate it.
Councilman.
Echo those thanks and for all the work that you and your team do in responsibly managing the finances and taxpayer dollars that we work with here. Thank you for your efforts throughout the year and through this process.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, and I would encourage all the members of the public who are joining us tonight to watch our budget meetings because they are very informative, and that is one of the most important things that council does in our year. So please take a look.
Mayor, if I may.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. March 24th. At our April meeting at 7:00 PM, which you can attend via Zoom or in person.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Resolution E1B will be numbered 2025-065.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to the reports of council members. Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of the evening, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to, I am the liaison to a Historic Preservation Commission in Verona, and there is a meeting on Thursday night. I'm also part of the Sustainable Verona, and both volunteer groups are in need of more members. So since we have such a large audience, I just want to get it out there. If you have anybody interested in historic preservation, or you know anybody who would want to jump on, please let them know, and please ask them to go to the town website, and there's a little button there you can click and give your information. We would appreciate it. I'll move on to the incident over the weekend. I obviously want to thank our police department, the chief and his crew. One of the best police departments in Essex County, if not the best. I have to also thank the Verona Rescue Squad. The mayor was on call that night. He's not going to thank himself, so I'll thank him on behalf of the town and the rest of the Verona Rescue Squad and all the other police departments and rescue squad personnel that backed up Verona. I think that's Essex County. We are one big family. And when this was an example of when something like this happens, everybody gets together and everybody jumps up and helps each other. We do that in Verona. We're a close group. I am a lifelong resident of Verona. So when something like this happens, it's tragic. It's happened many times. Thank God no one from town was injured, but it really stinks that others were injured. Whether they're good people or bad people, it's just awful to see. And for our first responders to have to go through that and see that is even more awful. I have to thank everybody here tonight for their comments, for their respectful comments. I go online and I read some of the comments on there, and I have to tell you, from the old white guy sitting up here, some of them are very racist, and I'm really ashamed by it. And I hope when we go online next time, we can just take a step back and be respectful of others. I do know the owners of this venue, and I'm pretty sure that anybody that owns a business in Verona never, ever wants this to happen, no matter what it is. Bar owners or whatever, it can happen anywhere, and we all know that. And sadly, there just are too many guns out there. These people, we talk about they're not in town, they're not here. I think they might have wanted to come here, but they might have been a little afraid. They're members of the Chamber of Commerce. They're very active. They jumped on board right away, and they do support Verona in other ways. We had several events for the Chamber of Commerce scheduled in the next year, but we'll see, what happens with that and how that goes. So I just ask that everybody, take a breath. You could see that the township is doing what we have to do to resolve this issue and this problem, and we're doing everything we possibly can. And I think tonight showed it. We just had to wait. I mean, everybody jumped on social media right away and criticized, but the cops, the police department, the detective bureau, they did a heck of a job. And Mr. Kiernan, Chief Kiernan, I'm going to go into what we had an event last night at the Islamic Center, and he showed up at 6 o'clock after zero sleep for 24 hours. So I commend you for your work and what you do for this town and how much you put into it. And I did say to him, if anybody had an excuse not to be there last night, it was Chief Kiernan. And he just said, I have to do it because this council that gets together does so much for the town, meaning the clergy council. But I like that everybody showed up tonight, and everybody hopefully got it out, and we're doing what we can, and we're going to continue to do what we can for the residents of Verona. We want them as safe as you do, and we'll do whatever we have to. With that, I do want to thank the clergy council for their event last night. It was very, very warming, and I will mention something that they said. They were talking about fasting and what each fast, how each religion fasts, and they're very much alike. All religions, really, when it comes down to it, they all said we're all pretty much the same. But they did say fasting isn't just not eating, not drinking soda, not eating candy. one of them said it's, you can fast by not going on social media and saying bad things. And that really hit me because I spent all day, probably more yesterday on social media than I did in the last year. So I thank everybody, and that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Roman.
Just would like to also thank our police department and our rescue squad and the township administration for all their work this weekend. This was very shocking to everyone in Verona, just simply because we do live in a safe community. The last incident of this type that I remember was the Sunoco station, which was a very, very long time at this point. We are not, we're shocked by violence because thankfully we are not desensitized by it because it's, relatively rare in this community. So I want everyone to remember that you should feel safe and lucky to live here in Verona. And when something happens, we respond aggressively, very quickly, and we try and figure out what's going on. We have an excellent police department. It comes from our hiring standards, our training standards, our supervision, and the caring of all of our police officers about this community. A lot of them grew up here, a lot of them live here. It means a lot to them to be a police officer in Verona. I also will say that we very intensely investigate crimes when they happen. That's one thing. I grew up in a larger city than this, and the big difference between being in a small town and being in a large town is in a large town, a lot of crime goes unsolved, particularly what we might consider petty crimes or smaller crimes, sometimes even violent crimes. In a small community where we have a police department that is pretty well staffed for the size of population that it's serving, they're able to very intensively investigate crimes. So I'm very hopeful that they, I know that they're going to keep working on this until they figure out what happened to every last detail. So I just really appreciate that. I appreciate the rescue squad. So we have a member sitting right up next to us here. These are people that volunteer their time and go running into situations like this and train and prepare for the worst case scenario. And, we all say that we hope we never need some of that training and the tools that we have, but when we do, we're glad that we're prepared. So I really do appreciate the response. And then obviously, over the weekend, our township administration has been reviewing the administrative matters surrounding this and, came prepared to determine what our next steps are. So I just really appreciate all of that. And, this is a good town. Always has been, always will be. And I just would also like to echo, the comments to thank the Boy Scouts for their pancake breakfast, which again, great way to start a meal in the morning. And thank you to the Clergy Council and to the Islamic Center for just a wonderful event last night. A lot of learning. That was, I find understanding religion and the different traditions of faith and what's different and what's the same. I find that kind of just a fascinating topic. The presentations were all very, very engaging and very informative. And I think everyone there really appreciated being brought together in a moment of unity. So just wanted to thank them for the invitation for having all of us.
Thank you, Councilman. Woman McGrath.
Thank you. I do echo all of the comments of my peers. As some of you know from the public, I spent significant personal time dedicated to gun violence prevention prior to joining the council. Spent 5 years with an organization called Moms Demand Action for Gun Safety in America and was a regional and state leader. This was obviously, my worst fear realized for our community. The level of trauma and violence that gun violence inflicts. I heard it directly from the residents of Park Place, and having worked with gun violence survivors, which unfortunately now you are a member of that group. It is a lot that we have to bear as a nation, and now as a community. So I want to thank everyone who came tonight, who's listening online, or who may be watching the replay. I want to, of course, thank our excellent police department and our police chief, Chris Kiernan, all of our first responders, especially the rescue squad. Again, while they may train for this, this is a lot to be witnesses and to come onto a chaotic and potentially unsafe scene. They really put themselves on the lines as volunteers, and of course our police force does. For me, when I ran for office and when I served, when I take the oath and retake the oath, when in my second term, you're really acutely aware that your main job is to keep this community safe, to keep the residents safe, the community, the police department, all of our first responders. That is my top priority. So, and I want to thank the township manager as well for taking my call over the weekend and for moving the administration moving swiftly on not just my concerns, the council's concerns, the residents' concerns, and the community's concerns. I too went to the Boy Scout breakfast, but missed my peers. And I do want to thank that wonderful service organization. I also went to the Interfaith Iftar last night, which for the second year in a row, which was really a lovely service. And I do appreciate our faith community so much. The Neighborhood Traffic and Safety Committee, for which I am a liaison, did meet and talked about the very robust feedback that we received on the Linden Avenue temporary demonstration project. And they did summarize their comments and sent it to the administration as it will be incorporated into the final design of Linden Avenue. And I believe there will be a public presentation on that at an upcoming meeting. The Shade Tree Commission, for which I'm also a liaison, also met. They have additional comments for Everett Field, which they will, if they have not already, will be sending to the administration. That was the main part of their discussion. I also sit on the Multicultural Inclusion and Accessibility Advisory Committee, or MIAC. They will be meeting on Wednesday, March the 26th, but more importantly, they will be hosting their annual Women of Impact panel on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the community center. And I want to congratulate Councilwoman Cynthia Holland for being one of this year's honorees. In addition, our first woman mayor ever, Maria Force, will also be honored, along with Alana Drost, who's behind Allie's Elves, Jennifer Finnerty, and Linda Sang. So congratulations to all the women. I cannot wait for this panel conversation on Sunday at 3 at the community center. It will be live streamed. It will be on Zoom. It should be a wonderful conversation, as it has been for the last few years. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hollis.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the members of the public who came out this evening. Several of you are still here. I met several residents of Park Place when I was running for office, and we got to speak about the Peckman River. And I didn't anticipate that we would be speaking of some of the matters that we've had to address this evening. But again, I just want to thank you for coming out. I will say I am a liaison to three separate committees for the township. And we've had activities over the last week and into this coming week, which stand in this like stark contrast to the rest of the discussion that we've been having tonight. So I'll start by referencing the fact that I'm the liaison to the Verona Municipal Alliance Committee, and we had family night on Thursday night. And family night is this great opportunity because, you know, dinner is this great opportunity to talk with your family and interact with your children. And of course, how we celebrate family night oftentimes in the township of Verona, it involves going out to our local restaurants where we have a lot of coupons. My daughter actually was one of the finalists that drew the posters for the poster contest, and it's in the front of several of our downtown businesses. So, you know, on Thursday night, we were at Town Scoop and, you know, picking up food on the avenue with my family and celebrating. So it was a really joyous night. And then Saturday night, we did get the news of this horrific incident in that same downtown. And I guess I just want to start with reference to the fact that I do have two daughters that go to HBW. And I think of the members of the council, I live closest to where this event happened. And I'm often not awake at that hour. Which says something about me, but nonetheless, I was awake at that time and I was kind of watching it unfold, both on, you know, on my phone, but also just like nearby and seeing some of what was happening. I can't
even fathom what it must have been like pulling into your house with your children, or watching it from your front step. And so I really want to thank you for the testimony that you provided tonight. It was deeply moving. It was incredibly powerful. And it was very courageous of you to stand up and share those experiences. So I didn't want that to go unacknowledged. And I think that Councilwoman McGrath is correct that there's a trauma that comes from surviving this gun violence, especially having it happen directly in front of your homes. And I don't want that to go unacknowledged this evening. I've addressed environmental disasters. I have never had the direct experience here, even when I've volunteered on gun violence prevention. But, I can't fully comprehend what your experience is, but I have great empathy for it. And I want you to know that I am thinking of you and that I really do appreciate you having the courage to step forward. I also want to thank our first responders for all of that they did that evening through the next day, for Chief Kiernan speaking to me on the phone, addressing some of my concerns that were raised, especially among the middle school students. It was very, very, you could tell that we are a family as a community. So as much as there's been a lot of struggle and a lot of turmoil as a result of this event, you can see that we as a small town do function very much as a community. And that was really underscored by attending the following event, the iftar ceremony and service, that several of my council colleagues have discussed, where you had communities that have been separated by a lot of turmoil, like a lot of religious strife and some very, very massive conflicts, like globally, coming together and breaking bread, breaking fast, and being able to do that within less than 24 hours of this really tragic event. It was, like I said at the beginning of my remarks, this kind of stark contrast where you had something that was very divisive, something that was very traumatic, followed by something that was very meaningful and a coming together and a very peaceful event in our very own community. So I do think, it's one of those moments where I think our community can heal from this, but I know that it's very raw and it's very fresh right now. I do want to recognize that residents have come to the township and that I believe that you were heard. And I just want to make sure that that continues to be the case. So as others have said, please avail yourself of the contact forms on our website. If you have concerns, continue to contact us. We've gotten a lot of outreach from residents, some of whom are here tonight, as well as others. So please just continue to have that dialogue with us. I try to be very responsive to residents when they reach out to me, and I know my colleagues do as well. I was nominated and selected to be a woman of impact. So I do thank Councilwoman McGrath for referencing that. If you haven't had an opportunity to go to that panel, I really want to encourage you to do so. It's a very empowering moment and you really get to appreciate some of the really significant women from our community. I wouldn't have necessarily counted myself among them, but I do appreciate that others nominated me. And I'm honored to be there with the women there, especially Allie, for doing her Allie's Elves experience. If you haven't done that, you really should. She's been an incredible woman of impact at such a young age. Last but not least, I do just want to acknowledge that March 15th is the end of the winter moratorium period. So if anybody is having difficulty or was having difficulty during the winter months paying utility bills, that moratorium period has ended. So please do what you can to work with your utility to address those unpaid balances. Thank you. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the meeting to public comment on any matter on the agenda. Madam Clerk, would you read the public participation?
Wishing to speak on any matter, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If dialing in by phone, please press *9. If you're attending in person, please raise your hand. When you are recognized, please approach the left arm. Once you're recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for the record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note that these meetings will be posted on the township's YouTube channel and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council. There can be no cross dialogue during the public portion. To speak has been heard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Anybody on the left side of the room? On my left. Got it. You know, we're not used to having people here. So it's like, yeah. It's usually just one.
Thank you.
Just say your name and your.
Dex Polizzi, Verona, New Jersey. Thank you again for the opportunity to address you. And also, thank you for the quick response to this issue. I don't want to make this a personal indictment of anybody here, but I do need to raise some concerns that have come up in your responses. Somebody commented that you didn't anticipate something like this ever happening. As somebody who lives across the street from this venue, I did. And I started to raise these concerns with Mr. O'Sullivan back in January. I'd raised other concerns relating to the trash and the nuisances with the police and the zoning department prior. So I think it's important to note that perhaps collectively we're ignorant of the dangers of this kind of business. But I've been working to make the town aware of this in a neighborly way for months. But perhaps those neighborly appeals, fell on slightly deaf ears. Now, Councilwoman Holland, you mentioned that you're the closest person on the council who lives within proximity to Palmetto venues. However, nobody lives closer than Eileen and her partner Ray. Nobody lives closer than Denise, who left, and her upstairs neighbors Tony and Amy. Nobody lives closer than my children, Olive and August Polizzi. Nobody lives closer than Sharon and her 4 children, William, Jillian, Gwyneth, and Bridget. And I just want this heard by the community that this impacts us on this block more directly than anybody else. And nobody has to live in more fear and under the threat of this business than anybody else other than us. I do appreciate that you make it available to us to raise these concerns, but I do feel like the response after I raised those concerns were limited. In fact, I posed a number of questions to Mr. O'Sullivan and Tom Jacobson back in January, and my emails went unresponded to. I also want to point out that the Councilman McAvoy, I am a little bit concerned that you would defend this business owner who's not even here tonight to defend himself, specifically when they've been enabled to operate with virtual impunity for over a year. If you've known about this business, you've known about these business owners for so long and so closely, how can we have allowed them to continue to operate in this fashion, knowing that there are also this litany of violations? That does not sound like a responsible or good business owner for this community. For example, do they employ anyone in town? Aside from the anecdotal evidence that you've provided about their personal association with the council, what about any of us as citizens? What have they done for us? If they're so good, why do they have so many violations that Chief Kiernan has already referenced? And I want to point out that I alone made more than 5 calls in one weekend about this property several weeks ago. So that number is significantly reduced. Most importantly, and to bring this back to the responsibility of the owners, their marketing is such that they're actively working to attract a group of party goers, regardless of race, economic status, or anything like that. And these events are inherently dangerous to communities like ours. Thank you again for the opportunity to address your comment.
Anybody else in the room? Yes.
Okay, good evening again. Kristen Kistner, Verona resident. So just to circle back after hearing everyone's responses tonight, I would like to formally request that the list of items that will be provided to Palmetto venues tomorrow by the building department, that they provide that information to the public. And also that the public is informed when the list is completed, if they choose to do that, and when the business is projected to reopen. Finally, I do understand that the building department, handles the issues with codes, regulations. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about that area. I don't. And of course, the police will handle the investigation with the suspects and the victims. But as I mentioned earlier, we do have a community petition with now, just recently checked, over 230 signatures and growing, requesting an investigation to determine if Palmetto Venues is a public nuisance. And if determined to be a nuisance, we demand that our officials take legal action. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Right on the side there.
Yes, yes. Come on up.
Before, the venues, anything?
Anything.
Agenda, yeah.
There we go.
All right, Paul, you start my 4 minutes. Let's go.
Go.
I'm ready. All right. Paul Petrangeli, Verona, New Jersey. All right. Totally on a different topic here. All right. I'd like to know about the intersection of Claremont and Pompton. What's going on there? Because rumors have it that there's no more Starbucks probably that was going to go in, might be a laundromat, but there's active work going on, and missing that traffic light is huge because it's just a total mess. What's going on with Commerce Court? Last we talked, there was on the survey, there was a few properties that needed to update the survey, remove some structures. Then we could be moving along with the application on open space or whatever that was. My next thing is the water line. The water line, I received this in the mail twice. My wife says it's 79 cents a stamp or something like that. So that's $1.50 a household. I own 2 other houses, one in Roseland, one in La Valette, both in New Jersey, both online. Take a photo, submit a form online, done. This right here, we are paying a DPW worker to come to homeowners' homes during the day while we're at work. So it inconveniences everybody. I've already done this twice in the past month and submitted the form online. I did not need to be there. I just drove down the beach, took a photo, done. Gosh, there's a lot going on. All right. Actually, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all my notes. All right. 2.5 minutes.
Good.
As you can tell, Paul.
You carry that over to the next.
Yes, we take that. Yeah.
No.
There's no cross dialogue, folks. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, I close public comment. Look, again, I do want to thank the public for those you remain for, as I think I said previously, your civil approach to comment, and you can watch videos online of council meetings gone bad. It's like, must be a YouTube channel on it. But I appreciate everybody taking their turn and bringing up your suggestions. As far from Dr. Kistner's questions related to the publication of a document, any document that the township produces is accessible via OPRA, the Public Records Act, and you can request that document. Out of fairness, we don't, there are a lot of documents created by the zoning department and the building department in that time. So generally we don't single out one property to publish all of that information. But I'll leave that to Mr. O'Sullivan to address, but you can certainly request it by OPRA, but you need to wait until the document's created. You can't request a document that hasn't been created yet. Okay, but I do encourage you to request that when that happens. And to Mr. Petrangeli, Mr. O'Sullivan, do you have any update on Claremont Commerce Court?
As far as Claremont goes, the property owner did have their zoning board application. They received their approval. They are moving forward with the traffic light. There have been extenuating delays in that developer receiving the materials for the installation of the traffic light. There is every intention to still install that traffic light though. If there is any deviation from the approved plans, they would be required to go back to the zoning board at that time. As far as Commerce Court, there were open space items that needed to be addressed, which have been addressed for the Commerce Court site. The property has been resubmitted to the DEP Green Acres, and the township has an upcoming open space committee meeting to discuss next steps for use of that site. And then I think the last item was the service lines. We have been working with our license operator for compliance for the lead service law, the replacement requirements, the notice requirements. I will reach out to them, and they had not indicated the ability for the photo option. I will have a discussion with them to see if that is an opportunity we can explore.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Okay, at this time, Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-06 on second reading. Would you please read the title of this ordinance?
Fixing the salary and compensation of the deputy manager.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilwoman McGrath. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilman Roman. At this time, we'll have the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-06. Same public comment statement applies. However, comments are limited to this ordinance only at this time. Any public comments? I see Peggy Wood. Ms. Wood, are you commenting on the salary ordinance, or did you have something else that we can hear later?
I was commenting on the prior comments regarding Saturday's incident. I'm sorry if I raised my hand late.
Yeah, we'll have another public comment opportunity in just a couple minutes.
Okay,
we'll just
okay.
keep your hand up and we'll call on you then.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further public comments, any council discussion? Councilwoman.
Yes, I just think there were some members of the public that were confused. So right now by ordinance, our salary for the deputy manager's position is 145 to 147. So this ordinance that is up for a vote is to actually lower that range to 120 to 145. Correct?
That is correct. It's lowering the starting floor salary in that range. It's all. Yes.
Some people had interpreted that as that person getting a raise. So just for public, we do not currently have a deputy township manager, and we're actually, yes, lowering the salary, and that salary is negotiated by the township manager. And just know that our non-affiliated staff, so people not in unions, generally get 2% salary increases per year. So we're not giving anybody $20,000 raises.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other council comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor ordinance 25-06 will be published according to law. So our pass is 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is ordinance for it's I-1 identified on the agenda. Would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record for first reading?
Amending chapter 140 vehicles and traffic, article 12, schedule 4, time limit parking.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody move the ordinance? Actually, I'm going to move this ordinance.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This time, open for council comments. I think I'll start on this one. We had previously passed an ordinance to limit parking on Bloomfield Avenue on both sides of the street from Park to Hillcrest to 30-minute parking. Number of residents did reach out to us arguing a hardship for the Ardley Muse condominium complex. At least my reason for initially for voting on the change to the parking ordinance originally was to provide 30-minute parking for the businesses really along the north side of that street, so the westbound lanes. And this was unfortunately a byproduct of that. I want to thank our township manager and our police chief for helping me to address those concerns as those who brought them forward. And thank you to all the residents who brought them up. I think it is good when government can say that we made a mistake and that we're happy to address that mistake. Any other council comments? Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you. It is our normal process, though, to talk about ordinance changes in new business, to give the public a chance to kind of review and comment. I understand, and I did read all of the residents who live in the condominium complex, their complaints, but I actually have additional questions, which I was going to ask our chief, but obviously the incidences of this weekend took precedence. So I will not be supporting introduction tonight, as again, I believe even though there is a hardship amongst the residents, we should be following our process. And I think there are some more complex issues that we need to discuss about parking in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
No.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor ordinance I-1 passes 4-1. It will be number 2025-08. Will be published according to law. A public hearing will be held on April 7th.
Right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we are moving on to our consent agenda, which has one set of minutes and now two resolutions, because we already passed resolution L1. Somebody please move K1, L1, and L2. So moved. Which is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second? Second. Second is made by the Deputy Mayor. Now open for public comment on the consent agenda items only. Same comment state. Seeing no public comment, any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor L1, L2 will be numbered 066 and 067.
We have two walk-on items to new unfinished business. The first, I just want to remind everybody that we have the joint council Board of Ed meeting next Tuesday. I didn't hear any feedback from anybody on any additional agenda items. This is kind of the last call, any of that. I did propose that we have a discussion on what the township and the Board of Ed can do to help continue our efforts to deter drug and alcohol abuse by our school-age students. So I will be adding that to the agenda. And I think that would be a worthwhile conversation. Yes, Councilwoman.
Mayor, you and the deputy mayor, we're going to be discussing with the Board of Ed president and vice president the agenda items. Has that discussion happened? And what is the agenda for this joint meeting?
So because I didn't hear from everybody on the council as far as any new items, it is what has been proposed by the board. There are no objections to what the board proposed, and there are no objections to what I proposed.
Has that been provided to us? What is the agenda items?
I did send that to you and asked for, comment on that at least once. I can read it.
No. Well, yes.
Why is that?
It's a special meeting for us.
I see the six.
Yeah, the four are review a current LOA regarding shared services. Discuss other areas with the school district township may be able to cooperate to benefit the community as a whole. For example, distribution of current information through both entities' mass communication systems. Verona Flats, discuss communication related to move-in dates and other areas important for running the school district, pilot projects, and then I sent the fifth project. I did send this to council on March 6th. Any other items to add? Okay, hearing none. Well, school board vice president is in. We'll reach out to the board president and discuss. We'll finalize that.
And that by Monday.
What's that?
I'll have that by the week.
Yeah, well, you have it. I think you were on that, so just that other item. So you should have that. We'll connect.
Do I move that? Brian?
Is that
just a town?
I think we both need to have the same agenda.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there'll be two.
The same, two gens.
Okay. At this time, I think Jen's on it.
Wait, but I got. Oh, thank you.
This time I will hear a motion to approve the settlement agreement related to our housing obligation for docket ESXL 59425. Would somebody please move the adoption of the settlement agreement? There's a resolution.
That's the resolution.
Yes, there's a resolution behind it that is labeled, but it is a resolution authorizing the Affordable Housing Council Verona to execute a mediation agreement with Fair Share Housing Center in accordance with the terms of the settlement agreement. Somebody move that. So motion. Motion is made by Councilman Roman, second by the Deputy Mayor. Okay. At this time, we'll open for public comment on that item. Send public comments in apply. Hearing none, I will close public comments. Any council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tambor.
Yes.
Mayor, this walk-on resolution will be number 2025-068.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. This time I'll open for public comment one last time on any item that any member of the public wishes to discuss. Ms. Wood, you've been waiting very patiently, so we'd love to hear from you.
Oops.
You have to unmute. Just unmute, Peggy, please.
Hi, hello, good evening.
Name.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just state
Oh.
your name for the record, please.
Oh, sure. Peggy Wood from Verona.
Yes.
Okay, I missed the first part of the meeting, so forgive me if any of my questions have been asked or addressed. But first of all, I want to thank the community members who live in the area of Palmetto venues who described their negative experiences. And I'm sorry that it took such a dramatic event to spur action. But of course, I do have great admiration for our police and our rescue squad. And I thank the town council for their swift action. This evening on your Instagram page, I note that a community update was posted, and I have some questions about that update. It states that prior to and independent from the events which occurred this weekend, the township began reviewing the Palmetto venue's property file in response to incoming complaints received. So my question is, when did that review commence, and what did that review entail? On the Instagram page, it also says that based upon the zoning review, it was determined that the business was improperly given a zoning permit and cert of occupancy based upon the decision of a former employee who was not authorized to issue such a decision. My question regarding that statement is, when was that discovery made? And more importantly, how can that happen? And what review mechanisms are in place to prevent such rogue actions from happening in the future? I'm also wondering if that huge error by a township employee was possibly the result of corruption or bribery. And if there is such a suspicion, is there any investigation being done into that possibility? And finally, will the township be auditing its commercial zoning permits, particularly with respect to businesses of this type? I know another caller expressed concerns about another entity, and I just want to make sure that all the permitting is in place. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ryan?
Yes,
Well, you're concluded. Kevin Ryan's up next. Mr. Ryan, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Kevin Ryan, Verona, New Jersey. Not wanting to be redundant, Ms. Wood raised a number of the issues that I was concerned about, so I'm not going to go through them again, but I would hope that you would be able to provide her with some enlightenment on that. And just a quick point on the meeting that you're going to have with the Board of Education. I was wondering when you might have a posting of the agenda on that meeting, so that if the public could get a look at it, and if they think there's maybe an item that you had omitted, that we could add something to it before your time period for changes was up. Otherwise, I appreciate your attention to the matter that a lot of people have raised, and hopefully going forward, we can deal with some of the issues that our town manager raised regarding the view process on some of these land use applications going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? At this time, I close public comment. Mr. O'Sullivan, the questions from Ms. Wood were administrative, so I will leave these to you to add anything that has not already been discussed.
Sure, Mayor, thank you. As far as the timing of the investigation, I am aware of complaints that I had received in my office directly from Mr. Pelizzi the latter half of January. There were complaints regarding property maintenance, primarily some noise complaints. Both of those issues were referred to individual departments for investigation and review. There was also at that time a request from zoning, from our zoning officer, our current zoning officer, to review the site for some of the other complaints that have been received tonight. So that's the general commencement. It was late January when we were beginning to review and pull files. And again, it was prior to this incident, and apart from this incident, the incident that did happen over this weekend did force the expedition of the completion of that review process. And it brings us to the discussion that we're having tonight. The questions regarding the due process and the review of the same zoning standards to other businesses in the area that was touched on briefly earlier this evening. The zoning and construction department will be given directives to review all of these same standards that are being applied to this particular venue to all of the businesses, and ensuring that there is the same equitable treatment for all the businesses, and all the standards that do exist are being applied fairly and equitably across all the businesses.
Thank you, Mr. O'Sullivan. And for Mr. Ryan, of course, there'll be a public comment period during the council Board of Ed special meeting. So feel free to, if you have anything else that you would like the party to discuss, to bring it during the comment. Okay. At this time, we have already made a pass resolution to go into executive session. We'll be doing so at this time. Will any official action be taken?
No.
Okay. No. Okay. Thank you to members of the public for your attention. Our next regular meeting will be on April 7th.